Welcome all to the Weekly Outlook. Moon here from EWPRO. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas break. I hope you have a prosperous new year. So getting into the Weekly Outlook, starting with the DXY. This isn't really playing as I planned. Sort of looking for a WXY. A, B, C up, and then I'll look for that Z down. We didn't get a nice move up in here. The correction's becoming larger than this X1. So it becomes sort of difficult. We don't have a nice structure on the daily to really trade. On the H4, as you can see, I was looking for like an A, a B, and a C. Well, I was looking for the end of the B here for that C up. It sort of tried to give one over here. So really, we're only really scalping. Didn't get up to that 100 fib. I think we do have bearish divergence here. No, we don't. We don't have bearish divergence. So there's two scenarios here. We get a WXY, X2, and a Z up. This is not looking very corrective, but we do have a bull hidden here. So if we do get an impulse up here, a flag or a correction, well, then you could look for the buy to go and break the top for the bull hidden. For the sell, I'd really like it to go and break this low, take out that bear hidden, give us a correction, and then you could look for the sell. So we're really in a waiting game to see what sort of correction we get to give us a direction. AU on the daily. So we've got that like WXY. Looking for an X2. We still have that bear hidden in play here. So this may be choppy up here. And then I'll be looking for that Z down. If this top here gets broken over here, well, then we can start to look at it as a reversal. But it is quite choppy if I go down to the H4. You can see it is rather choppy. Got this really deep correction in here for a WXY X2. We got the Z up, just got up to the first target, that 123.6. It's starting to give a larger correction. It looks like it's giving a larger correction as an A, a B, and we'll get a C down here. We want a larger correction than these over here. So really, to buy, I'd wait for a running or expanding flat in here, and then your buy set up to buy. To buy up here is rather dangerous. On the H1, it's very choppy, as you can see. Sort of got some sort of a flat in here for an A, B, C up in here. It's come down here. It didn't give us bull hidden, but it's nearly broken the top. Really, it's very risky, but if you do get a flag in here or a correction, you could look for it just for a scalp, and then you'd be looking for, you know, some sort of a sell setup. EU on the daily. So we got this extended wave Y. So we're looking at WXY, X2, and then a possible Z down. We still do have a possible bear hidden here. This top here hadn't been broken. I dare say, like GU, it will be broken, and then we'll be just looking for a larger correction and more upside, like on GU, as I'll show when we get to it. but this bulk bear hidden can play out and go and break that low. So we've got to be rather careful here until, really can't be sure of a reversal until that top there is broken, basically. On the H4, this didn't really give us a nice structure to buy that wave Z up. Probably, I was looking at a WXY. I was looking for a running or expanding flat in here. We never got this wave C down to finish off this X2, and it's kept on going, starting to get a larger correction over here. So really have to start to look at this as the wave Y, and we get this as a larger correction here. It is possible that this is an A, B, and a C, very choppy C down, but either way, it is a larger correction than this here. On the H1, you can only buy this on the H1. We got that bullish divergence there. If you get a correction in here or a flag, definitely worth looking to take that. Wait for your correction and set up before you look for the buy. You need a trade set up in the direction you want to buy before you can actually buy. On the GU daily, we've got that WXY, X2. This one's broken that top there. So when that happened, the possibilities still can't rule out this wave Z down, but the chances of it breaking the low become slim now because we got that higher high here. So when we got that higher high, just looking for a correction down to that 50 fib, or maybe a bit lower, and then I'll be looking for a buy. On the H4, you can see here, we got that A, B, C, all that bearish divergence. So we're looking for a sell, any sort of sell, we're looking for a sell. This was looking very corrective. So we may get some sort of a, like a WXY, X2, and a Z up. We're getting a trend line break in here. On the H1, you can only buy this. You wait for your correction or a flag and look for the buy. Yeah, it should be a good trade. So I just want to show you the GU last idea I put out. This is what I teach. So I'm looking for a larger correction before we get an A, B, C. So we're picking 3 waves in advance. I'm looking for an A, B, C in here, then the larger A, B, C, and then the larger A, B, C. As you press play, you can see that I analyze the market and are picking the structure well in advance. If I can get this to play. So you can see here, it did come down and give another lower low, but we still got the same structure. It didn't change the structure. We got an A, B, C up. Then we got the larger C down, and then we got that larger C up. So if you do want to learn how to do this, do that analysis on the market and pick three waves in a row ahead of time, and then plus a strategy to actually trade these. The strategy is just as important as your analysis. If you do want to learn how to do this, by all means, you can see it's gone up even further. Now we're getting that larger correction, getting this larger correction in here to buy. But at the time being, on the H1, we just want to look for a correction in here and a buy setup and buy. It should be a really nice trade. The EU and GU look really nice. Getting on to the NU. Now this one's given an A, B, C down in here. It's given us that high here. So I'm just looking for a correction on the daily and then more upside. This wave in here may not be over either. So if you look at the H4, it's pretty much going as planned. Getting a trend line break in here. We got this WXY, looking for that X2 and a Z up. Definitely could draw the targets on this one. So it just, that's the wrong one. So we're just looking for that first and second target. So this is your first target here, that 123.6, and then we got that 161.8 as your second target. On the H1, you can only buy this. You can only buy this. We got that bullish divergence. Wait for your correction or flag, and then look for a buy. Should be a nice trade. I mean, we got this right down the bottom here. You know, if you follow me on Trading View, Boon 2, you'll see NU buy. We brought it right down the bottom here. You know, this was, and we're looking at the weekly targets, the 38.2 and the 50 pip as our targets. And as you can see, it's exceeded both the targets. So again, you know, this is your trade down here to buy, not so much up here. So we're just looking for that wave Z up on the H4. It should be a nice trade, and then we'll be looking for downside. UI on the daily. So this gave us that really extended wave in here as well. It has broken this low for the bull hidden. This still can give us a Z up. There's nothing to say it won't, but on the daily chart, we're really more interested in a sell. It becomes, can't really go into it, but for this wave Z up, it's not as reliable now because we've broken this low in here. Definitely still not out of the question to get that wave Z up though. On the H4, we got all that bullish divergence. And if I just go over this, because we got a like WXY, X2 and a Z down. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we got the 5 down, it should give a larger correction and more downside. Well, it gave a larger correction, then it gave another 3 down. This is where my course sets a lot of way ahead of most of the other courses out there, because we can still count this with swing points. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 swing points, which is motive, and it's a C down, so we want it to be motive. So that's fine. If you want to learn about swing points and all this stuff, definitely join my course, because a lot of this stuff you will not see anywhere. So getting back to the analysis, we got that bullish divergence, trend line break. I'll go down to the H1. The problem here is this is rather sharp down in here. I would have liked to see a correction in here to buy. So there's two ways you can sort of play this. If it gives you a correction in here, you could look for a C down, and then you'd be looking for the A, B, you'd be looking for your buy setup for the C up. Or it may even reverse on you if that bull hidden, well, sorry, not the bull hidden, but if we get that wave Z up on the daily. So I'm a bit disappointed with this here. We can sort of look at it as an A, B, C, and you get an A, B, C. You can look at it like that too. So if you do get a correction in here, it's probably worth looking for it. It may just turn into a wave C as a scalp, or it may go and break the low. But either way, I'm more interested in the buys at these lows. You know, we got all that bullish divergence. You can only buy at this stage, really, safely, unless you're scalping, you know, more experienced. The Swissy on the daily. So this one here, we got that WXY and X2. If it's going to give us that Z up, it's got to go from here virtually, or else the correction's going to become too large. This one never really gave us that C up either. I was looking for an A, B, C. It didn't get up to the 100 pip, and it's quite choppy. We got all this bullish divergence. So for the downside, it is quite risky to sell, but it does look like we may get a sell here. We may get on the H1, we may get a WXY, X2, and a Z up. We got that bull hidden. It's not valid to trade. It's more of a like an A, B, C, and you get a flat in here. Because we have that bull hidden, we definitely can't rule it out. For the sell, we really want to see the low broken, and then a nice correction or flag, and then we can look for more downside. Yeah, and then we'd be looking for the buy for that possible daily Z up. Looking at UCAD on the daily, this is a couple of scenarios here, because we have this possible extended wave in here. We got a WX, possible extended wave Y. Be looking for the X2 and then a Z up. In here, you can see we got that bull hidden, like I've mentioned. This is looking bullish in here, so I'd be looking for the buy, just for a wave Z up, for that WXY, X2, and a Z up. It's not the best looking structure in here, but if you look at the H4, I was looking for that WXY, X2, and a Z down. Like I said, at this stage here, it has to go from here, or else it's going to be a larger correction, and we won't get that Z down. And that's pretty much how it's played out too. It's more of a WX. We may get a wave Y up in here, or a ABC. It's looking bullish on the H4. On the H1, it's extremely choppy in here. We are getting like bullish divergence in here. I mean, it really depends on what we get in here. If it looks bearish and you get a sell set up, well, you could sell it. If it looks bullish, you could look for the buy, because all this looks corrective. So we really got to see what sort of setup we get in here before we can look to trade it. There's no real trade set up on it at this stage. GY on the daily, well, while it zoomed out, we got 5 up here, correction, and then we got another 5 up here. If we look at this last bit here, that's where it gets quite tricky. You know, we got those 5 up, A, B, C in here as a larger correction, and then we went up and broke the top again. We got all that bearish divergence. Here we have a bull hidden. So there is a very slim chance that it goes up and breaks that top. I'm not going to go into it, but it may. It's not really a valid bull hidden. Sort of got like a WXY. We'll be looking for an X2, a Z down, and then you could try that bull hidden after you got the 5 down in here. So on the H4, we're looking for a correction. We're looking for that WX, wave Y, X2, and a Z down. To trade this on the H1, you could look for the buy. We got that bullish divergence, getting some sort of structure in here, corrective structure. So if you do get a buy, you could at least look for an A, B, C. And it may give you that larger correction for the X2 on the H4. It's really only scalping. Yeah. EG on the daily. So we got that like A, B, C. Is that all though? You know, this may be an A, B, C in here as an expanding flat, and we still get an A, B, C down. Or this is the A, B, and a C, and we get a correction in here, and then we look for the buy. Just waiting to see what's happening in here for the daily. On the H4, we may get more upside. We may get a wave Z up. I don't really like it because we got a WXY. This was a very deep X. We do have a bull hidden here. This didn't go and break the top. So we may get like an A, a B, and a C down in here. And then we could look for that Z up on the H1. Yeah, we got a bear hidden here on the H1. So we got like an A, a B, and we're getting a C down. You could look to scalp this. You'd be only scalping. It's going to break your low, and then you'd be looking for the buy setup. This is the one you don't want to miss. If you miss that, yeah. Looking at gold on the daily. So this is pretty much playing out very nicely. If you look at my trade view, go through my trading view ideas, about 2 years ago, I put out an idea that we're looking for a correction for the next couple of years. We got that on the weekly, we got that WXY X2, and we're looking for that wave setup. So any buy setup we get, we want to take that. Now I can put this target on here, change the color. So you're first targeting that 123.6 and the 161.8. Now that will break, you know, the top, the record top over here. On the daily, it was sort of strange because we had this in here and that didn't quite break the low, I don't think. We got a very deep correction in here, which made it hard, but we did have the bullish divergence. It's starting to go. It was being very slow, hard to hold. It's not really playing nicely. We got that WX, very deep X, wave Y, X2, and it's exceeding both our targets in wave Z. We're getting all this bearish divergence. We really need a correction on the daily, or a larger correction on the H4, larger than this over here, and then we can look for the buy, more buys. This stage it is getting rather risky because we're already in that wave Z and we're getting all that bearish divergence. So on the H1, yeah, some sort of a flat in here. You know, we get some sort of an A, B, C. It's, or you could look at it like a W, X, Y, X2, Z up, whichever way you look at it. Very difficult to buy. Risky. You really want a nice setup. Entry. Your entry system is where what comes into play here. You know, if you're going to buy this, you know, and you're only scalping to break that top. So yeah, and for the sell, we really need nice impulse down, correction or flag to sell. Take a quick look at silver. So we got that like a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z down. Actually, I'm actually looking at this a little bit differently. Actually, I'm looking at this as a complex correction, like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get that impulse down. Like you sort of got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. So as your impulse 3, 3, 5 complex correction, we're bouncing off this trend line here. It's getting very messy up here. A lot of bearish divergence, very risky to buy. And I dare say on the H1, it's a sell. So you can really only sell this. We've got all that bearish divergence. We'd be looking for a correction in here to sell. This may be a flat in here, like an A, B, and we get a C up. You can look for a buy if you get a buy set up. Ideally, the buy is more riskier than the sell. If we get a sell, it'd be nicer, even if it does come up here and then gives you the sell. You know, it's going to be a larger sell than it is a buy. WTI on the daily. So if I just zoom out a bit, we'll show this. So we got that WXY, X2, Z up. We lost all that bearish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction in here for more upside. And we're getting that correction. Looking at this last part here, I'm still waiting for, we never got that. Like I was looking for an A, a B, and a C. We still don't have that C up. There is still the time factor here. We still do have a bit of time before we get a Z down. On the H4, we've got those three down. We didn't get any bullish divergence. And this is looking corrective. It's looking like a sell in here, to go and break the low. So you could look for that sell. There is no real buy on it. We've got a higher high, so H1 you can only sell it. You can see back here, I was looking for an A, B, C. Well, we got the C in here. So we got an A, B, C up. Nice impulse down. This is looking corrective. Any sell setup you get in here, look for the sell. Moving on to Bitcoin. So we got that A, B, and we're getting this drawn out wave C. We still got a little bit room down to this 100 pip. We're getting all this bullish divergence, so it becomes risky to sell. On the H4, we're looking for this wave C down, but this is still looking rather bearish, and you can really only sell this. Right. So you'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. Hopefully it goes and breaks the low, gives us a little bit more downside, and then gives us something to buy. You can't really buy at this stage. This is looking way too corrective to attempt to look to buy. On the H1, I had a nice buy setup in here to go and break the top for like a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up. Here it does have bull hidden, so you would have looked for this trade to go and break that top. We've got that bull hidden. But now, we're getting that bearish divergence. If you're going to get in, you get in on this or this here. But now, you'd be at break even if you're on that trade and even taking half off. Very risky. I mean, if you get some sort of a correction in here, you could look for it. It's not something I would trade. I'd be more interested in a nice impulse down, breaking that low, giving us a sell setup. You could scalp that one down, breaking the low, possibly down to that daily 100 fib, and then you'd be looking for the buy. To be buying here is a little bit too risky in my view. S&P on the daily, it's one of my favorite pairs to trade. And it gives nice structures. We got that W, X, Y, X, well, X2 and the Z down. The problem here was this was looking rather corrective. Ideally, for a reversal, we want to see a nice impulse up, break that top. Oh, excuse me. And then give us a correction and more upside. So the structure is suggesting a little bit more downside. But we got those 5 down with bullish divergence. So if we go down to the H4, we got the 5 up on the H4. We got that W, X, Y, X to Z up to the first target. This is looking very bearish. You can really only sell this for at least an A, B, C. Sell it for that C down, and then if you get a bullish setup, well, you could look for a buy. Yeah, this is looking way too corrective for me to buy into, especially because we got that 5 up, bearish divergence, and this is looking corrective. I mean, this little piece in here is looking impulsive, which it should look impulsive. Yeah, we had a bull hidden in here. It's gone and broken the top. Well, actually, yeah, it's not a bull hidden because this one didn't break the top, but yeah, on the H1, you can really only buy it. For the sell, we need nice impulse down and a sell setup to safely sell it. Yeah, it's really a time factor. Yeah, I'd be staying out of it at this stage until I get a nice sell setup. But in saying that, if you do get a nice buy setup in here, you could take it just for a scalp, um, and it may go on you. You never know. So, yeah. AU 200 on the daily. So this one's looking rather nice, actually. This is a lot better looking than S&P 500 on the daily because we've got that WX, Y, X to Z down. I was looking for this 50 fib retrace. My last weekly analysis, it looks like it's bounced off that 50 fib. On the H4, we got that like A, B, C. This may be a leading diagonal, like a W, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal. You can only buy this. We got a trend line break on the H1. It didn't really give you much of an opportunity to buy it, but if you did get in around here, you'd be doing well. You'd be at break even. But now, if you're not in it, we're waiting for this wave in here to finish, and you'd be waiting for a correction. If we get a nice correction back to say the 50 fib somewhere, nice buy setup. We're definitely looking to buy that. It's a lot better. It's looking a lot better than the S&P at this stage. Looking at the DAX, this one, we got that like move down in here, an A, B. Looking at this as a C. It may turn expanding. It's not really giving a nice structure. I was hoping for a sell setup in here, If I go down to the H4, you can see last weekly outlook, we had that bearish divergence, and we had this move down. I was looking just for a correction in here and more downside. Instead, it's gone up and it's broken that top. So it makes it very difficult. This is a correction. This is some sort of A, B, C, get some sort of a flat running or expanding flat, and then we get more upside. On the H1, it looks like it gave, well, an expanding flat in here. on the lower time frames. On the H1 though, we got this, you'd be looking for the waves that up. So you'd be looking for a correction similar size to this over here. Then we'd be looking for that Z up. You'd have to go down to the lower time frames to trade this wave Z down. You may get like a flag in here. You could attempt it. You're just scalping though, and you're scalping on the lower time frames. And the FTSE on the daily, this has broken the top. Is it? You know, we got those 5 up, impulse down, very deep correction in here. So I was just looking for an A, B, C, and then an A, B, C, and then give us more upside. It's continued on. It did give us a bounce off that 100 bib. You know, the H4 looking very bullish in here. I think I may have mentioned that in my last week, the analysis. It wasn't giving us a nice impulse down. Yeah. Going to get a bearish divergence, I dare say. We may lose the bearish divergence. I'll go down to the H1 because I dare say it'll be very similar to the DAX. Yeah, so we got that like WX. We were in a wave Y. Wait for your X2 correction, and then you could look for that wave Z up. We do have bearish divergence, so it is becoming quite risky to buy. You know, if you get flags, they become very risky. They're only really scalps. So yeah, take care. So I hope you all enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.